adjust. All right, let's talk about the Honda Prelude. Now, this is actually, I kind of like how this car looks. Like when it first came out, I actually was following this secretly, before it became mainstream. I usually follow Honda Global. I also follow Honda Japan. They have a YouTube channel as well. I do remember a while back when this was like still fresh, even before anyone else knew about it. I was watching a video and there was like a Japanese presenter. He was talking about, he was like going over the car, how it looks and everything. And I thought it looked pretty good. The interior looks pretty similar to a Civic. There is some shots of the interior there. And also, if you guys want to watch that early video, I will post a link to that video in my description so you guys can know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I watched that video and I got to see it in motion. And it was actually pretty cool seeing it in motion and seeing it moving, but we didn't really know what the powertrain was going to be. People are saying it was going to be this, people are saying it was going to be that. Many people were thinking, oh, it's going to have the Type R motor, and and no, that's just not going to happen. There was never a Type R Prelude. Besides, the Prelude is more of a gentleman, more mature, grown-up sports coupe. Overall, I think the looks are pretty good, and this is, it's got pretty good proportions for a modern sports car. I don't know, I'm just really digging the looks. Usually I don't dig the looks of new cars because, like, just in general, new cars are pretty bulky and bulbous. And although there are some new designs like the GR86, which I actually do like, has very nice design. Not many new cars, they kind of stay to a generic thing, and I kind of thought Honda was going to do the same thing. But I guess they didn't. They gave us something a little bit different. Now, the interior is pretty typical Honda. There's nothing really special to write here. There might be some unique differences and unique cues because it's a Prelude. Like, for example, the seats. I like how the seats are designed. Like, the little Prelude logo is embossed into the headrest. Now, the engine, like I said before, was pretty confusing because not many people knew what it was going to be. Was it going to have the 2-liter? Was it going to have the 1.5-liter? And it would have been probable to have the 1.5-liter because usually it is a higher end model, and in typical Honda fashion, in higher end models like that, typically they get the most powerful engine. So in case, I wouldn't be surprised if they put in the Civic size engine, which is 200 horsepower, which would be kind of good for that car because it kind of competes with the BRZ a little bit. But when I heard it was going to be 181 horsepower, I'm thinking, is this the Accord hybrid? I don't think so. I think the Accord makes around 200 horsepower, but that's strange. First time ever in history the Prelude has less horsepower. But I have a feeling this might be trim related. Like, they can't just be one trim, because usually with Preludes there's usually a base model and then there's usually a little bit of a more sporty model. So it's very hard to determine because Honda is not making the 1.5-liter to kind of axe that out, and that kind of leaves the SI in a weird place. I have discussed this in a previous video before, hinting, is this the end of the Civic Si? Are they going to make another one? Who knows? Because the hybrid is sort of filling in that gap. It makes 200 horsepower, and I think it makes around 230 foot-pound of torque. Now, it would have made sense if this was the hybrid powertrain because, it's 200 horsepower, and if they want to make a little more sporty version, they could modestly increase the horsepower. Nothing too crazy because Honda doesn't go too crazy with horsepower. So a modest, I would say, 215, 220 horsepower. I think that, it might be where the BRZ is. I think the BRZ and GR86 make about 220 horsepower, so it would have been perfectly competitive. And it actually has a pretty good suspension setup. It's getting the Type R setup, which is actually pretty awesome. But again, only 181 horsepower, and that comes from a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a hybrid motor, electric motor. So it's kind of interesting that they went this route, because usually people who are buying cars in this niche, it is really niche because mostly everyone is buying little crossovers like this. They're buying SUVs, pickup trucks. So it's already a really niche kind of person that's looking at a Prelude. And, you know, typically, you know, they may not be super duper interested in cars or gearheads like me and you guys, but the demographic for that car, they definitely, you know, they do like cars a little bit. They like the styling, they like that it's a bit sporty, it's a two-door car. Not many people are looking at that for anymore, so it is already a niche, and the Prelude has a huge enthusiast following. Although it's not one of the loved Hondas, mostly a lot of people forgot about its existence, but it's a pretty good car, and I wouldn't mind picking one right now. Like, let's say if I wanted to do a little project, I will pick up myself probably a 5th gen Type SH, or if I want to go JDM, I would get the, I believe it was the SIRS spec. Honda, I don't know, it's just weird lately. They really do, I do really think they need another two-door sports car, because I don't think they really have that anymore. Because the Accord Coupe is gone, the Civic Coupe is long gone, that was long gone with the 10th gen. Oh, how nice, we're driving off into the sunset. And yeah, Honda just doesn't really have a coupe in its lineup, so this would kind of fit in perfectly, because I feel like that was kind of missing from Honda's lineup in general. Like, they just didn't have a two-door car. Yes, they don't sell well, but they do make pretty good cars. When like, the Civic Coupe is pretty good, the Accord Coupe is even better, like if you want a little bit more luxury, more power, more torque. Although it's a dying segment, they were pretty good cars despite, you know, them not being popular. And I think the Prelude is trying to fill that gap. But the thing is, the Accord always had a pretty decent engine. And I don't know, it just seems weird for the Prelude to kind of follow this trend. There was a nice E92 sedan. You usually don't see the sedans. It's always coupe, and convertible that I see mostly. God, I would love to buy one of those. Actually, in my previous video, I did say I wanted a Cadillac, and Cadillacs are pretty good. I know that V8 well, but that M3, oh my God. Anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts on my Prelude. I kind of have mixed feelings. Honda's being very secretive about it. And I personally think they're not going to reveal too much, but there's definitely going to be a higher trim, a more sporty trim, because look at the car. It's a sporty car. If you don't release it with a sportier variant, I don't know what to say. And this is sort of my prediction. I think they're going to pull a similar thing to the Toyota Supra, because when the Toyota Supra came out, the Mark V generation, I actually liked it. I don't care about people talking about like, oh, it's a BMW. I don't really care about that stuff. I think it's a pretty good car overall, but I definitely have a strange gut feeling that Honda is going to sort of play that route. So what they're going to do is they're going to release it with an automatic transmission. And then down the line, they're gonna release a manual version. That's what they did with the Supra. And the Supra also came in two variants. It came in a 2-liter and a 3-liter, I believe. So I have a feeling that's the way it's gonna go. They're gonna pull that, then they're gonna release a sportier version, and they're probably gonna release a manual version. So that's sort of my gut feeling on what's gonna happen. Because they're not just going to release this as one model only. Definitely not. Oh man, this guy's going so slow up this hill. Have to downshift. Come on, it's 40. Come on, are you running out of gas? A little bit disappointing if this is going to be like, let's say if it's a one-time kind of thing. I'm going to be pretty disappointed if that's the only trim. But overall, like looks-wise, and if it came with a manual transmission, it's actually going to be a pretty fun car in the twisties. Just hopefully it's well-balanced and it's tuned well. But yeah, write down in the comments what you guys think is going to happen with the Honda Prelude. and I'll see you guys in the next one.